Hey guys, welcome to a very highly requested video I have for you here today. This is going to be Let's Talk FM13. Indeed, let's talk a brand new game, of course, that is going to be coming out later this year. Now, how am I going to do this? Well, one thing, of course, those Football Manager commentators don't usually do is have gameplay over the top. That's pre-recorded gameplay. So what I've done is, just to make things a little bit easier and just, so you're not looking at a black screen or whatever, is I'll have the user interface here open so I can sort of visually as well as audioly, if that's a term, guide you through certain things. So now I asked a few people on Twitter what they wanted to see, what kind of suggestions they wanted for FM13, what features should be in it, what features should be taken away, what new features, what should be remodeled, redone, built on or something, so I've just started up a new game here. I'm not going to do anything. It's just so, I've got something to work with, and plus the fact that I would be spoiling anything else if I opened up my Liverpool save. Currently I'm about 4 years ahead of you guys. But the first thing, of course, is, actually also as well, I have this open here. This is from FM Scout. It is a Football Manager 2013. Now, for those who clicked on the thumbnail and saw this logo, was like, oh, it's wrong, or it's if you're watching this in the future, whatever, when FM13 is out, or that this isn't the real logo. This was just a mock-up by FM Scout, so don't go all thinking that the new logo is going to be green this year, or at least it could be. We don't know. Anyway, yeah, as I say, so the first thing, of course, now the two things I just want to go over first. The main two, in my opinion, that should be updated. Firstly, network games. We all know network games. The reason I get many, I don't get many, but I get reasonable amount of messages from people saying you should do a subscriber game, network game with your subscribers. And I have considered that in the past, but honestly, network games are just terrible on this. They have been for some time. I think they forever have been in the FM series, to be honest. And they've just not worked. It's why I've never done one. It's why I've never even considered doing one, and the only network game I've ever taken part in was the Euro 2012 live stream the other week, and that was a lot of fun, mainly because I only had to play like 4 or 5 games, because if you have to do 38 games a season, then God help you, to be quite honest. But one thing I believe, even though we've yet to hear any news on this, FM13, hopefully SI, are going to be putting, maybe even, I don't even know, dedicated services, I don't even know where, but they're going to be refining, hopefully, the new network games, and hopefully we should be able to see an improvement on that, because if it can run at the game speed of the regular game on network games, it'd look great. Many people would have brilliant multiplayer. Now we are living in an age where Xbox Live, PlayStation 3, they have brilliant online capabilities. Xbox Live, in my opinion, obviously PSN is good as well, of course, but in my opinion Xbox Live is the definitive one in terms of communication, entertainment, and all that sort of stuff. Football Manager's got nowhere near that yet, and it needs to raise this game. So that's one thing I will say straight away. Network games. It's why I've never considered doing network game, doing anything like that. So that's just something out the way. The second one is, in my opinion, something that really does need to be changed. Now, this is just my opinion. Obviously, I'm not saying I don't think anything else deserves to. It's just something that really kind of irritates me about this game, and what it is player attitudes. Now, I've talked about this before, and I probably will talk about it again in the future, in future videos, but the main thing that really gets me about Football Manager, especially FM12, I didn't really notice it as such in previous FMs, but in this one in particular, it really started getting on my nerves, mainly because I've probably played it as probably the most I've ever played in FM, but the player attitude in this game fucking stinks. If there is no other way of saying it, they are joke. I think it's understandable if a player now, this new manager profile created here is a brand new manager, as you can see. If I just go onto this real quick, unknown manager. This is just something that loads up really quick. I can understand if a player talked down to me like they usually do, but on my regular save, I am the number 1 in the Hall of Fame, or no, or thereabout. I think I'm actually no, I'm not. I'm number 2. I think I'm number 2 in the Hall of Fame, and I've world class, all that sort of stuff. Been at the club 20 odd years, but they still treat me pretty much the same way. It's just a few other players who like me in terms of preferred personnel and all that treat me a little bit better. But overall, most of the players talk to you like shit. Now, if a player talks, for example, I realise again that this is a little bit. Let's see. Okay, actually, I tell you what, you can't really pick it up because I would actually be instigating it there, and that's a little bit unfair. But a really good example is if you find a player. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to visualise this one, but just bear with me. Use your head. If you find a player, say he has a really poor game, and that's quite common. There are going to be times when players have a poor game, and you think, okay, I'm not going to take any shit here. He's starting to get on my nerves a bit. He had a poor game, needs a bit of a kick up the arse. Here's a 1 week fine because he's been having a few poor games lately, and to be honest, he deserves it. What they'll come out with is the most pathetic thing I've ever heard in my life. I've never heard so much shit. They'll say something along the lines of, just because his teammates didn't play the way that they could, meant that I can't remember what the actual term is. But basically, what happens is the players put the blame on the teammates. Now, I think they've actually got this one quite spot on, to be honest, because this kind of contradicts what I'm saying here. This is just a tongue-in-cheek thing, but it's a real thing now for most footballers. This is just a side note. If you look at most footballers now, they never take responsibility for things. Watch football players. The majority of football players, okay, there are a few, but football players never want to take responsibility for their actions on the pitch and most of the time off the pitches, but let's stick to on the pitch. They never want to do that, and they do it here. But now, that's the problem. That is entirely the problem. The problem is, they had a poor game. Whether it was because they scored their own goal, or whether it was because they had a lapse in concentration which let the opposition striker through, or something like that. But yes, they blame everything. Any reason why you find them is blamed on the teammates. Now, why is that? That's stupid. I just don't understand it. I'm kind of rambling here, but you kind of understand. Hopefully, the way players talk down to you, and all that sort of stuff. I'd like player attitude to be refined. I understand footballers aren't the brightest bunch in the world. There is that stereotype, and it does exist today. But not every player is Joey Barton or Mario Balotelli. Okay, there will be some players like that. We all know. We can see them, Barton, Balotelli, and the like. But why is it that 90+% of players act like them? I reckon there should be a very small amount of players that I suppose you could call, let's see, let's go Suarez as a good example here. Let's see, outspoken, volatile, yes. Them type of players should be fairly limited to the extreme ones, like Suarez, like Balotelli, like Barton. I'm more talking about regens here than anything, but the amount of regens that appear to be outspoken and volatile, maybe I just got a bad game, who knows. But that's just one thing that started to get on my nerves a bit. Tone down the fucking attitude on the players. Anyway, of course, as we all know, we'll see UI overhauls as we do all the time. One big thing, of course, that I'm going to highlight now from this FM13, they highlight them all here. I'm just going to highlight one real quick. Scout assignments. If I just scroll the way down here, scouting. This is what a few people have been saying. I'd love to see FM go back to the previous method of scouting. One day report really irks me. I kind of understand where they're going here. Competition scouting, I agree. Continental options, I think there needs to be more detail. Now, I completely understand what they're saying here. Now, I use the scouting thing. Now, let's just do this here. This isn't going to work particularly well since I haven't got any scouts on. But this is essentially what I do, and it's kind of stricter. I mean, look at that. I mean, okay, I'm only on a small database with one league active, but that's still the point. That is essentially how most people scout potential investments. Look at Superb. That's 4-star. I realise that's the absolute peak. That's good to very good. Still a reasonably small list. You know what I mean? Okay, I'll untick that, and still nothing. So, that and what I'm talking about here are regens. Because, I mean, I'm talking like 10 years, 20 years, whatever into the future. It more applies than, you going on FM boards, for example, and finding one of the kids. Of course, you can find them yourselves, of course. But at the same time, I personally find that potential and ability scouting, that is quite literally it. That's all you've got. You've got this list, 1 day report. That's all you've got to go on. I don't really think that's enough. I still think there needs to be more. What exactly, I don't know, to be brutally honest, because I've just stuck to this, and this is kind of all I know. now, because I haven't played FM in God knows how many years, to be honest. It's been a while, but before FM 11. Well, you kind of see the point there, maybe more detailed scouting. Well, going back up here, press conferences. Now, this is one thing I want to go on about interactions. Personally, I'd like to see press conferences just gone. Just get rid of them, because they're just a waste of time and they're a hindrance. What I mean is, for example, now this type of thing's kind of, I just did this just for effect here, but this thing's kind of cool, I suppose, But I can't recall too many managers sort of storming out of a conference. I've seen, obviously, the odd one. I remember Steve McLaren did it, I think, when he was the England manager. I think it was when England beat Andorra 3-0. It was like, what? It was 0-0 at half time or something, and I think it was something like that. And that thing happened. There've been a few more, but honestly, that kind of thing's cool. But overall, I just find press conferences to be repetitive. After a week, if that, to be honest, of getting the game, what happens is most people would send their assistant managers to press conferences, which is entirely understandable, and what a lot of people do, I do it. And what you find is then, because assistant managers have forever been stupid, I mean monumentally stupid on this game. It's not just FM12, it's all, even going back to this championship manager, they've been monumentally stupid and they say the wrong things. Even the best assistant managers will occasionally say the wrong thing, and that could ruin your whole league campaign right there. That could ruin your whole season, just because your assistant manager says one stupid thing. And obviously, what you find is you've got to waste your time going into press conferences, making sure you say the right thing for something that is completely and utterly irrelevant. There's no reason for it to be in the game other than to be a little bit realistic. I think you should have the option to turn them either on or off, I think, because they're a waste of time. They don't add anything to the game. And to be honest, they're more a hindrance and can ruin it. Because, I mean, let's be honest here. When have you ever heard anyone, and this was, I remember, I think in the old Regen Liverpool series, where I sent Gerrard, my assistant manager, to the post-match conference, and we lost the game. Excuse me, we lost the game. And I said, the interviewer asked him, saying, "How do you feel now?" You'd say, well, we're going to try and pick the lads up for this game. I'm not too happy at the moment, but, we'll try and pick it up. What does he say? He doesn't say it like that. He says, "I feel distraught." Who in their right mind is going to say that? I just find that utterly ridiculous. No one is that stupid. So just do away with them as far as I'm concerned. Just get rid of them. The transfer system. Now, transfer system's one's been, all the Football Manager players, I say, if you've been playing it for the last few years, you've kind of just gotten used to it, that it's stupid and messed up and really just ruined. Selling players is the problem. Buying players isn't as such a problem. It's still a little bit buggy, but I think you kind of got used to it and it's you can work around it. Selling players is a major problem, and it has been for a while. Or you could, because, for example, if I offered, say I've got Stuart Downing here, say I offered 16 million, as if I were to offer Downing now, what would happen? Say we got a message back and say a random team, let's pick one, Man City, just for the sake of it, Man City are interested in Stuart Downing. What'll happen is, it'll say no offers for Downing are available. Man City are rumoured to be rumoured to be interested in the player. So it's like, well, you're going to make a bid, and what happens is you just sort of keep offering it, and it's like Man City are rumoured to be interested, but nothing happens. So what's going on there? And then another one, which is the best one of them all, and really needs fixing, is where it'll say no offers are viable at the moment for Downing, and it says let's take another team, Blackburn, for example, whatever. Just picking names here. Blackburn feel that the player would not have, that Blackburn feel their team is not, their reputation is not good enough for him to join, or they will not have the wages for him. Well, how the hell do you know that? You're just jumping into assumptions. Why is that on there? There's no reason for it to be on there. Offer him a contract, then he might accept it. Who knows? Just because the chairman thinks he might not accept it doesn't mean the manager might think it. It's unbelievable. Honestly, there should be a thing to say, well, offer him a contract. Feel free to offer that type of thing. I don't know what that could absolutely entail, but another sort of extension of offer to clubs. That needs to be made better through that type of thing. Is what I'd like to see. Player complaints were the talked about, sort of, touched on again. This is something I've brought up several times. This is very touchy subject. A lot of people disagree with me on this, so I'm going to assume you are as well. But just hear me out on this one. I feel players sometimes it gets a lot worse, as I mentioned. I find all the problems do come out when you go into the future, which, as I'm highlighting here, as I've mentioned so far, most of them do apply to regen players. It's not much of a problem when you have real players, but when you get to regens, especially with, for example, I'm going to say I've bought a young player here. I bought him when he was 16. He turned out to be a quality player. At the age of 25, he feels as if he's achieved all he can at the club. Now, I don't understand why that. Again, I just think that happens too often. That needs to be toned down a bit. I realise that some players are going to say that. Of course they're going to say it. But that needs to be toned down. I've had way too many players in my regen series that I've just had to get rid of for absolutely tiny prices as well, because they've wanted to go. Because no one's, and this is the problem with the transfer system, no one's interested with them. So I've got to cut the prices, and then I've lost out. I paid 10 million for this really good youngster. He's turned out to be really good, but no one wants him. So I've had to sell him for 5 million. Because the transfer system's so buggy, and he wants to leave. Just out of the blue. I've not done anything to piss him off. Nothing's happened on the pitch. He's not falling out with anyone. He just wants to leave because it's the get out clause. It really is. It's FM's get out card to mix the game up a bit. And I think it's a bit paltry, to be honest. And I think that needs to be changed. That's one thing. 3D match engine fakes and bugs. Now, 3D match engine, of course, is something a bit of a taboo topic. I personally am not too bothered by it. This is I'm just going on personal opinions here because I use 2D. But one thing a lot of people need to bear in mind when we talk about FM13 is they have made several statements on this. They do not want the game to look like FIFA because, of course, we have FIFA Manager now as well from EA Sports. And that is, well, let's be honest, that's not a particularly good game. At least the last few iterations haven't been. But the game itself is not meant to look like FIFA, and they don't want it to, so that's why they haven't really pumped the graphics up very much. Even by standards of today, I mean, honestly, the graphics, though, you do have to admit, the graphics in the 3D match engine would not look at a place in a PlayStation 1. It does need to be pumped up. Hell, even a fucking Super Nintendo back from the 80s, to be honest. But yeah, it's, as I say, you do need pumping up, but bear in mind, people, that it's not going to look like FIFA. What it's going to look like, I have no idea. Hell, something like Pro Evo. If it's not going to look like FIFA, look like classic Pro Evo. Look like older ones. Look like, what was that one called? Red Card, for example. Remember that? When you're playing against Dolphins and you slide tackle. Yeah. Anyway, AI squad building. Now, this one I don't think is too bad, but obviously it's something that can be built on. Again, a little bit resolute a bit and a bit sort of playing. For example, if I were to go to Liverpool here, let's just take this for example, go to a View Club. I didn't like this sort of View Club thing initially, but I think it's worked eventually. I do like it. It's a bit more sort of compact and a bit more usable, where everything is once you start using it. But facilities, it's just good corporate top. Top. You don't know what the top is. I mean, you do. It's state of the art, but I just feel that something could be added to that. Like the junior coaching type of thing. It's just average. It's very difficult to get good, really high junior coaching. I think they just need to expand it a bit more, make it a bit more interactive, and that brings on to a good point as well, where maybe we could see the introduction of under 15s, for example. Under 15 teams, under 16 teams. Really, we're talking not just youth teams, junior teams here, because they do exist. I mean, okay, not into the realms of admit the manager is not going to go out and watch an under 15s team, but I'm sure there is a far better sort of period here where you've got, say, a really good, promising 14-year-old. I mean, we're talking like Freddie Adu at this point, remember from years ago? Really exciting 14-year-old. He didn't come through as well because he wasn't tutored properly for whatever reason. I don't know. But you get to tutor a player from a very young age, not just, I mean, okay, you can do it from 16, but even younger. I think that adds something to it. So, yeah, sort of youth, that sort of thing, expand that a bit. Training system, again, that's something you guys can discuss in the comments if you want. I don't really use training that much. I don't really have that much of a problem with it because I've never really it's one of the areas in Football Manager I never really look at, mainly because I'm lazy. But I look at all this and buttons and tabs and stuff, it's all over the place. I personally don't like this, and I would just happily keep it as is. But if you guys want something, of course, feel free to suggest things in the comments as well. I'm just giving my opinions here. And yeah, this is, I don't see anything wrong with this. Maybe the sort of, people complaining about how, again, sort of people complaining about, heavy workload and training. What I think I do a lot, and I'm sure you're going to highlight this, is I'm getting things mixed up here. I'm getting negatives of the game, getting that mixed up with just negative things that are just going to happen. You know what I mean? Like where you're going to be attacked for something, or people are going to complain about something. You need to get that around your head, and that's something I can't do. That these things are going to happen in the game, but you take that as a bad thing of the game that the developers could have changed. But it's not; it's a part of the game, so you just have to get around with that. I can't say I know what match engine set piece though is. We'll come back to that one actually. Manager interaction and networking. I've already talked about networking, of course. Interaction. This is something that will bring on to two things. Firstly, manager interactions. That could also lead on to other things such as dynamic rivalries, something that has been very, very asked for quite some time now. Which, of course, dynamic rivalries, in case you know what that means, is where, say, okay, like for example, on my regen save, Man United have kind of faded away, but yet we're still major rivals with them. But Tottenham, of course, who got taken over by Arabs, are now challenging for the title all the time, or in the top four. So why haven't we become big rivals of them, or with not Arsenal, Man City, for example? They've been at the top. Why can't we develop these rivalries? How come, say if I get to 2,100, for example, the year 2100, and some team from League Two, for example, let's take Bournemouth, let's just take a random team there, say they get to the top of the league and they're doing really well. I can't get rivals with them, But if you can have dynamic rivalries, that's something we want to see, and I'm sure it's been very highly requested. But manager interaction now. Let's just click on a random manager. Let's go to who might like me. No one actually. I'm Liverpool. That's a point. Okay, let's go to Arsene Wenger just to make things easy. They go say relationship with you. No opinion, obviously, but that will of course have certain things such as feels the two of you could become friends. Has a fairly poor opinion of you. The thing about being friends could be built upon, in my opinion. I'm not too sure exactly to what extent yet, but I've seen people recommend that say, that could be built on. And I think that could work. I think that would be quite a good idea. And finally, scout assignments, which I've already talked about. Now, here's some ideas again from the training. These are all from FM Scout. I'm just going to quote the website here just to give you a guide. Complains too much about training. There you go. Request coach to sort this out. Yeah, that's okay. That's slightly lazy. What I don't want to do is sort of introduce everything where it's like, click this button to fix this problem. Click this button to fix this problem. Click this, but you know what I mean. I don't want it to turn into that type of thing. I mean, okay, that'd be good, but it kind of takes away the challenge of the game. Especially, if you're like playing as a top four club, it makes it a little bit, too easy. You literally are then just clicking buttons. He should need to continue training to remain this. Yeah, actually, that's a fair point. Actually, of course, if you train a player to a new position, for example, if you want a left winger to play as a right winger, and you train them and they accept it and they get on with it, they need to continue training to remain competent at that level. Otherwise, they seem to forget it, which is something a bit weird. As I say, more answers in press conference stuff. The problem with more answers is they're just going to get dry again after a week or two. It really is as simple as that. And, excuse me, it will eventually you just end up going on a vicious circle with sending your assistant manager who's going to say stupid things, so you have to bore yourself through these press conferences, and, it just doesn't work. So, yeah, I mean, you can just sort of skim through these really quick. If you want, just pause the video, feel free. But how many? 48 monthly payments. This is a little stupid request right here. This isn't at all... I wasn't trying to be realistic. I'm not going to try to be realistic when I say this, but one thing that really pisses me off is how often the AI abuses 48-month payments. I'm sure the AI uses it more than most human players out there. I've had so many times where I've got a £30 million player that I need to shift mainly because he wants to seek a new challenge. You see what I mean? But they pay like £2 million over they're going to pay like that over £2 million a month or whatever, or £30 million over the course of 48 months. No, I don't want that, and you can't negotiate that. That's it. or you cancel the deal. It's stupid and annoying. Pay-as-you-play contracts have been introduced. Admittedly, that is a fairly new thing, so that would be nice to see. And yeah, if I'll put this link in the description for those who want to really read it in depth. But this is just to give you some ideas, maybe get you a bit excited for FM13, and hopefully start enjoying it. But feel free to write and discuss what ideas you want to see in the comments. And yeah, so this lower league stadiums with seats only on one side, that would be good. Pace and acceleration too overpowered. I agree to an extent, but I think that is a problem across all football games, and we can say it's about FIFA, we can say probably even about Pro Evo. I mean, how many times have we seen? I mean, I've mentioned several times about players such as Suarez and Bergen on my regen save, who just destroy players on that right-hand side. In fact, what I noticed they do is they sort of drift to the right, and sometimes the left, but it's mostly the right-hand side, and just blitz other people. I mean, literally leave them in their wake for pace. And then it's got an easy cross and a tap in. So, yeah. As I say, but these are just giving some ideas. So, yeah, if that's... I'm going to leave it there. So, thank you for watching, lads. Hopefully you've withstood the barrage of complaints from myself. And I will see you next time then for another video. So, thank you for watching. Give the video a like, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.